Whoa, is that a Gravekeeper, dude? Whoa, what's going on? Gravekeeper's here back in 2017. What is this? If you guys didn't know, Necrovalley actually got a huge buff slash errata slash the Yu-Gi-Oh! Just went ahead and decided to go 180 on Necrovalley because the effect now reads: all Gravekeeper monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in the graveyard cannot be banished. Cards and effects that would affect cards in the graveyard are just negated completely. That is a really strange word. It's been changed several different times. If you guys didn't know, Necrovalley has like 20 different texts over here. But nonetheless, the new change on Necrovalley makes it super strong. OCG got a reprint of it that had a completely different effect, which can completely destroy, like ABCs, can destroy Paleozoics and Fraugerzoics. Get wrecked. You can see he's trying to activate that Zecticaliber. Zecticaliber would normally have another effect. Insectors can't do anything with the graveyard. Zecticaliber can't do anything. At this point, the other player over here is just pretty much out over here. Gravekeeper's too good in 2017. Specifically, Necrovalley is what makes him so dang good. But I wanted to talk about this deck in general because Necrovalley is now a floodgate. It just shuts down so many different decks now that I think that in 2017, this might be an okay deck for some of you budget players. But I think that Necrovalley is just a really good card in general for the side deck even. Just not a bad choice. And we got a new card over here, Passionate Duelist, that I didn't really talk about, but I'll go over once we go over the deck profile for any of you guys that are interested in trying out Gravekeepers. Now, there are some interesting tech cards in here, and I'll go ahead and go over them once we get to it. But nonetheless, I'm going to showcase off a few replays. This one's going to showcase off how powerful one of the Gravekeeper's cards is, which is basically a floodgate in itself. Not only does Necrovalley shut down decks, but you have a card called the Hidden Temples of Necrovalley, which means your opponent cannot really play Yu-Gi-Oh! If they're playing meta. Your opponent just can't special monster. Look, he just quit. That's basically like a Family's Emptiness. But in combination with that, he has Imperial Tombs, which negates anything. So anything that would stop Hidden Temples, you just negate it, and you basically won against a lot of different decks. But here's an actual like replay. That one I just want to showcase off how good that card is against certain decks. But we see an ABC player over here. He's going to go in for first from Gold Gadget, Assault Car. I think I would have went for Tsukiyomi myself, but nonetheless, he's got Strike and Warning here in the back row. We see Necrovalley set Spy Pass. Passionate Duelist was also there. I don't personally like the card, but I understand Gravekeepers is a very slow deck and you don't have any removal other than the Descendant, but nonetheless, not a bad card. But it's just not my personal preference. But nonetheless, he's got Gold Gadget, A-Core, Gravekeeper Spy. 2000 defense is still pretty decent. Goes for the Utopia. Doesn't overlay for the other one. I don't know why he didn't go for that Lightning. But did he done Goof? Oh yeah, he's got Lightning over there. I thought Lightning was a better choice over there to negate like whatever was going to be face down. But nonetheless, Stele is activated. Gonna go ahead and go +1. Get another bonus card over there. So it's a 1 card. You get 2 out of the graveyard. He sets a Gravekeeper Spy. He didn't actually go for the Buster Dragon with the effect because he needs to have cards to actually go for it. But nonetheless, Spy goes into Nobleman, Nobleman into Spy. Goes ahead and flips up the Spy. I think he should have negated this right here where he's got that Solemn Warning over here, but you can still see Descendant activated. It's awesome ability. Go ahead and search card. He's got the Malefic Stardust Dragon. He's also got Hidden Temples out on the board over here. Stardust Dragon, the Malefic one, actually protects Necrovalley, which basically shuts down certain decks. Cannot banish. That's a really good effect against a deck that needs to banish cards out of the graveyard, of course, to grab out their Buster Dragon. It goes in and activates the Solemn Warning. Kind of irrelevant now because at this point he's pretty much out. He's got the Crushed Wyvern, he's got the back row that is equipped to it, but nonetheless, he's got Hidden Temple, so no special summoning going to be going on. He goes ahead and activates a Solemn Strike, but then Imperial Tombs is going to negate that, so rip that card. Buster Drake going to be able to search out another card, but it doesn't really matter because it's game over. But really cool replays over there. But I wanted to also give you guys a deck profile and also kind of talk about the deck. This is the one that was as is in the replays, but I think we can make this deck much better, and I'll give you guys suggestions because I played against this deck. I've played this deck for a while, so I can definitely give you guys tips and tricks on Gravekeepers. But really what it comes down to is if we get that change on the text of Necrovalley, which I'm sure we'll get. We've already seen Dark Strike Fighter, we've already seen Chaos Emperor Dragon, we've already seen a lot of cards that were once changed as far as their effects go. I'm sorry, my bad. My headphones popped out for a second. But anyways, yeah, like I said, Necrovalley, it got its effect essentially changed. So normally it would stop certain things, but now it just stops like so much more. There's a good article on Organization. I'll link it down below. It mentions about like Metal Foes, Paleozoics, Glow Up Bulb. It mentions a lot of other things, but Pretty much, in a nutshell, Necrovalley is the new floodgate that I think a lot of people will try to side deck or even hack main deck because it's so dang good. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and jump to the deck profile. And I want to make some suggestions for this because I think that this deck as is can definitely be improved. But let me go give you guys the deck profile right now. So we got triple Malefic Stardust Dragon. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go over the deck profile real fast. And then I want to also talk about like what each card can do. And I want to make a lot of suggestions to this deck. But I want to keep it like as is because like some of the cards you guys might not want to play, and I actually suggest you guys not to play them. But nonetheless, triple Malefic, double Gravekeeper's Chief, triple Commandant, triple Descendant, triple Spy, triple Recruiter, triple Nobleman, double Terraforming, 3 Stelae, 3 Hidden Temples, 3 Passionate Duelists, 3 Necrovalley, 3 Anti-Spell, 3 Imperial Tombs. Alright, but I want to also give you guys like tips and tricks on this deck and also make some suggestions because I think these are really important for this deck. And I'll go ahead and go over the effects because I know here in 2017, a lot of people are interested in maybe playing a budget deck. So I don't want to add cards like Solemns other than Solemn Warning, which is the first card I want to add. Solemn Warning. Let's add a warning to the deck because again, I want to keep it budget, but at the same time, I also want it to be a little bit better. I don't think Chief is very good. If you guys don't know what Chief does, he's an older Gravekeeper. A lot of the older Gravekeepers are pretty bad, minus like Spy, Descendant. Those are like the classic, and of course Commandant. But there has been a few new ones like Recruiter, Nobleman. There's also a few other ones. There's a Priest. Okay, if I could spell Priestess. That's how it is. Priestess, which actually makes it so the field is treated as Necrovalley, but if there's a face-up field spell card, this is not applied. All face-up Gravekeepers gain 200 attack and defense. The cards that say would like normally you'd need Necrovalley, she can count as that, but she doesn't have the greatest stats, and like that's all her effect comes down to. And you should have Necrovalley up at all times. But anyways, Chief is an older card. You only control one of them, but you can only control one of them. Cards in your graveyard are unaffected by Necrovalley, so that actually can really help out a ton. But for this deck profile, I don't think it's really that necessary, but when this card is tribute summon, you get to select a Gravekeeper monster in graveyard and special summon it. It can be an okay combo piece, though. Don't get me wrong. I think that it is okay. Maybe at 1, if anything, but I feel like it's not that consistent just because you have to tribute. And then on top of that, if this card gets warning, it really sucks because the whole goal with Gravekeepers is a very slow-oriented deck in the first place. So it's like set Spy, and then you get to go for like other things, except for pretty much you can get most of the things in the deck that you'd want to get, minus him, because he doesn't have the requirements, because he has 1500 or more. He is actually 1900 attack, but you don't want to get this card out anyways. But pretty much you get out everything in the deck, minus Stardust Dragon. But nonetheless, I don't really like this guy, but he has a potential to do a lot of dirty stuff, like get back a Recruiter, and Recruiter can then be tributed with Descendant to get a bonus effect, and then search out a card. But nonetheless, Malefic Stardust is kind of important in this deck. I should have started off with this card, my bad. But anyways, Malefic Stardust is important because it protects Necrovalley. That's all it really comes down to, and it gives you another play after you get warninged. But, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of Chief. I'm just not going to really recommend it to you guys. But if you guys want to try it out, by all means, go for it. Triple Commandant, yeah, that's fine. Triple Descendant, that's pretty good. You could drop it down to 2 if you want. Triple Spy, pretty much required for Gravekeepers. Now, these cards say, what is it, activate, you have to have a Gravekeeper monster and Necrovalley out on the board. Also with Imperial Tombs, it says, while both a Gravekeeper monster and Necrovalley are on the field, you get to negate something. Yeah, I think that triple these, and triple Spy are pretty relevant. Triple Recruiter, pretty good too. Triple Nobleman is the whole like deck is very slow in the first place, so by all means you guys can go ahead and try it out yourself. But anyways, when this card you control is destroyed by battle with an opponent's attacking monster, send the gravity special summon Gravekeeper Spy in face down defense position. I know it says Gravekeeper monster, but it's always gonna be Spy, don't worry. Or Recruiter, I guess. But anyways. So, going back to how the deck plays, because like I said, it's a very slow deck. You're going to be setting stuff a lot. But discard it, go for Necrovalley. Pretty self-explanatory. Descendant, you tribute a face of Gravekeeper, and you need to pop one thing your opponent controls. Usually it's set Spy, go for Descendant, tribute Spy, or something along the lines of... These are the 3 like key cards. Let me actually just get rid of these like cards that were in the side area. So, you set Spy. If you have Recruiter in your hand, you summon Descendant. If you have Descendant in your hand, you summon Recruiter. So whatever the field may look like, let's say you have Descendant in hand. Next turn it becomes your turn. You have Gravekeeper Spy on board because her plus Necrovalley is 2,500 defense points, and nowadays you can get over it. Back in the day it didn't really happen. But again, you're going to be stopping your opponent from special summoning in the first place, so they shouldn't be able to get over a Spy. And then you go for Recruiter or whatever one. You go for Descendant. You activate Descendant's effect to pop Recruiter by tributing it, and then you get to pop a card, and then you get to search out a monster whatever the case may be, you know, obviously go for what you need to. That's like the bread and butter of like the basic Gravekeeper like combo. But Recruiter searches you out anyone, including himself. That's actually something important. Then we have Nobleman, which again is pretty much a summon spy, or you can go for the other cards, but it's 99% of the time it's pretty much spy. Terraforming, I think you really need Necrovalley. You need the deck to be as consistent as possible. I would even throw Desires if you happen to have access to them, but I feel like this is a budget-oriented player deck, so I'm not going to recommend it for this build. If you don't have it, I understand. Like it's not a bad card to throw in though, by any means. So yeah, Terraforming, definitely a great card as well. 3 copies of Stele is a little bit much. You guys saw in the replay where he was able to use it and get back 2 of them. I don't think 3 is necessary. You should be in control for the most part. And opening up with double Stele isn't the most ideal hand. Especially when you have so many other conjunctional cards which require this plus Necrovalley. It can just become problematic if you happen to open up with like Stele, like double Stele, you have like Malefic Stardust Dragon, and you just don't have the, maybe you have like a Recruiter, and you're going to have to play a really slow turn, and maybe you open up Passionate Duelist, which is the next card I'm going to suggest to get rid of. But 1 Stele I think is actually ideal. 3 copies of Hidden Temples of Necrovalley. I think this is okay, because if you want to stun your opponent, if this is a stun deck with triple anti-spell, if it's a super stun deck, I can totally see it. It's definitely not a bad idea if you want to really stun your opponent, lock them down, shut them down, floodgate them. Pretty good stuff indeed. And then next up, there were 3 Passionate Duelists. It was actually pretty decent against the Inzektor player, but for the most part, I don't really like this card. So when monster you control declares an attack, you can target you can target a spell or trap card your opponent controls, negate the attack, and then you can destroy that card. Each player can only set 1 spell or trap card from the hand per turn. So in one sense, once you stun them, it can work pretty well. There is times where, you know, there are decks that play multiple background, but for the most part, as far as the meta goes, minus Paleozoic, but like you got the Necrovalley, so they're not gonna do anything anyways. I just don't really recommend this card, especially at 3. I think that's a little much, but it also has a bonus effect during your draw phase. Instead of conducting your normal draw, you get to add 1 monster from your graveyard to your hand. I don't know when we're getting this anyways in the TCG as it is currently. I think it says beta in here, but nonetheless, I don't really recommend it. I think it was just a new card just there for fun. I don't really recommend it though, but by any means, go for it if you want to play it. Triple Necrovalley, yeah, that's pretty relevant. Triple anti-spell, it can help with pendulums, because this is the only thing that like the deck kind of gets hurt by, because Necrovalley doesn't really affect pendulums. This, yeah, definitely can affect pendulums, but you're not going to be able to search out this card as easy as you can like Necrovalley. So I feel like Triple Anti-Spell is a pretty good setup if you want to stun your opponent. Like, this is at its core an anti-meta deck. Solemn, because it's the cheap Solemn. We ain't going to play strikes in here. Again, I wanted to make it budget friendly. 3 copies of Imperial Tombs of Necrovalley. So when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated while both Gravekeeper monster and a Necrovalley are on the field, negate the activation. If you do destroy it, you can only use 1 per turn, but it's fine. Negate anything. You throw out Necrovalley, a lot of decks, they'll have like the 1 card to answer like the whole like board you guys have seen multiple times. And you know, you can protect it anti-spell forever. It's very good. You're good to go, and this can just help you win a lot of games. But as far as adding the last 6 cards, even though a lot of the things in this deck shut down your opponent, if you're already shutting down your opponent, like, it's fine. I think that the main flaw that this deck would have is going second, and so I think Maxi can still be a good card if you want to go ahead and add it. Even Ghost Ogre wouldn't be a bad idea. I was actually looking at a bunch of older Gravekeeper decks that have popped, because this deck was at one point pretty good, guys, but like, this card was actually like a $35 card when it first got announced, because people were like, oh, Gravekeeper's going to be back, but not really. This card is probably like only $1 right now. It might go up to $2, so like if you're not picking these up now, they might be a little bit more expensive, but I don't think there's a rush to it unless we get more Gravekeeper support, because if they change the effect of Necrovalley, maybe they're going to release more Gravekeepers. There hasn't been any announcement of it, but I will update you guys as soon as there is an announcement of new Gravekeeper monsters. But nonetheless, Maxi can still be a good card again, because the thing that sucks with this deck is going second. So this can kind of help circumvent some of the downsides to going second. But as far as the last 4 cards for you guys, like I said, I looked at some of the other builds that were back in the day. They were running cards like Deep Prison, which in 2016, that's just not so ideal. And the problem with running other trap cards that I see is just, you run into problems where if there's already a monster on board, it can be hard to deal with a threat that already exists. I actually don't even think Raigeki or cards like Dark Hole would be bad. Obviously, you don't Dark Hole yourself, but there's a lot of cards with Dark. I think Dark Hole and Raigeki can also be decent cards. Because again, the way I see Gravekeepers is they're very, very, very strong. Maybe just like one dark hole, because you want to open up like as optimal as you possibly can with consistency. And I actually really recommend Pot of Duality in this deck as well. Dualities are also a cheap card. On top of that, you don't do too much special summoning on your turn. The only real special summoning you're going to be doing is like flipping up your own spy, but most of the time they're going to attack into it anyways, or Malefic Stardust Dragon. So the deck doesn't rely heavily off of special summoning. So I think this could be an excellent build. If you guys want to mess around with the last cards, feel free to go ahead and let me know what cards you guys would add down below in that comment section below. But I think Gravekeepers can be a decent little deck here in 2017 once we get that new errata or change to Necrovalley here in the TCG. But even if it doesn't get changed, guys, if you play in Worlds, play competitively, you know, when you're across the world, they do use OCG ruling, so it's still relevant and still important to learn that Necrovalley is a pretty big threat for a lot of different decks. Metalfoes, Paleozoic, any synchro-based deck, they're going to have, well, most meta decks just need to special summon. So this could just be a little bit of a fun deck for you guys to mess around with here in 2017. But let me know if you guys have any suggestions for any changes or what other cards are coming out that are going to support Gravekeepers. Because again, Necrovalley is going to be pretty strong in the game. I think it's just a great side deck card in general, even if you're not playing Necrovalleys. Even if you're not playing Gravekeepers. Necrovalley is now an archetype. But nonetheless, thanks for watching, guys, and I am signing out.